became a Christian when I was between 11 and 12 years old. I know the day, I know when God saved me, but still I was just a young girl. My sister and I, Linda and I, attended a revival at the church next door to my church. So there were two churches, and we could throw a rock and hit the other. But we went to a revival, and we both were saved. But then, went back to our little Baptist church, and that's where we, attended. I was at the age of 11.
Tell me, what was it like growing up in your home, for your mom and your dad? I had the privilege of doing their funerals and sharing with people about them. My encounters with them have been very brief, because when I met your mom, she was in the nursing home or in the rehab over in Ohio. I went to meet her there and talked with her for a while. And then your father, I met him through that, and then spent a little time with him as well in the hospital. He battled some health issues. But what was it like in your home growing up with your mom and your dad? Were they Christians? Did they encourage your walk with the Lord?
They weren't Christians when we got saved, but shortly after, there was a revival of their church. And we...
Is that the other church?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like the Baptist church. The other church is a godly church too. But we invited them, convinced them to come to a revival, and they were saved. So, shortly after, and then, that time on, then they raised us in a Christian home.
Now, at what point did that fella back there start chasing you around? Now, here's the twist on this, just so you guys understand the intricacies. All right, so Brenda had a twin sister, Linda. They have a brother, now remind me of his name.
My brother? Bill Jr.
Bill Jr. And then there's another set of twin girls. And then one of them has passed away as well.
Sharon.
Sharon had passed away. And so, now here's where it gets crazy. Two brothers married Linda and Brenda. So it's kind of really an all in the family type thing. And so, when did that fellow back there, Mr. Larry, start to chase you around?
Well, he will tell everybody that I chased him.
I've heard the stories.
I was a junior in high school, and he was a grade behind me. So, I was about 15, 16.
So that part of the story is true, Larry. I was a little curious about it. And when were y'all married? How long have y'all been married?
59.
No.
A long time.
48 years.
48 years.
Okay,
so 40 plus years.
Yeah.
That's a tremendous
A lot of years.
Funny, he said it the same way.
He did.
Yeah. Now, when you were getting married, and you and Larry were talking about that, and you were talking about family, what were some of the things that you desired most for your marriage and for your family?
Well, everybody wants to be happy, of course, and I wanted, as far as children, I'll tell it this way, I wanted two, and he wanted two, but we didn't tell each other, so we got 4.
So that worked out. You got your 2, and he got his 2, and you're good.
Right. But I just wanted a happy home and to raise my kids to love the Lord as my mom had done with us. So
Now,
that's what I wanted.
how did you do that? Once your kids started coming along, how did you teach your children to love you? 'Cause, I mean, I know your kids. They're pretty amazing.
Well, I started out right away. In fact, I think Brian was 2 weeks old when I took him to church. Later I found out, I don't think you're supposed to take a baby out before 4 or 6 weeks old.
6 weeks is what it is.
And I took them to church every chance I had. I tried to be an example. Gina says that we would gather around the piano and I would thump out a song or two and they'd sing along. And she said, you used to take us out and we'd have little fires in the backyard and I'd teach them scripture. But, and then I had a real thick, this is while they were married here, a book, Bible story book that my mom had. And so they got to hear Bible stories every night. And just, telling them that God loved them and by example.
Now, this is probably a rhetorical question, but do you pray a lot for them?
Oh, yeah.
Anyone in particular you pray more for them?
Oh, yeah.
You're not going to give any names, though, are you?
He's not here.
Tell them the ones that aren't here. Tell them that they can't defend themselves.
I believe it was Steve.
That's another. See, there's another twist. They have a Steve Brumfield. We have a Steve Brumfield. Their Steve Brumfield has a daughter named Gracie Brumfield. Our Steve Brumfield has a daughter named Gracie Brumfield. We got a lot of, keeping all the Brumfields straight is a tough thing to do. But, so let me ask you, Brenda, your grandchildren now. I know you're really proud of them because anytime they do something good, I get emails about what they're doing and how great they are. And I agree, they are great. Pray much for them.
Oh, yeah, I do. Thanks, man.
Thinking about a young woman who is maybe not married or considering marriage, or a young mom, a young wife. What's one thing that you would encourage them with? Just one thing you've learned over your 48 years of marriage and raising your children and your family. I know that's a lot to try to think of just one thing. So you can do two if you need to. But what's one or two things that you would just share with them as these are things you cannot compromise on, these are things that you have to hang on to?
Just I'm hoping all are Christians, that they've learned to love the Lord and have accepted Him, and that they trust Him with everything, because there's some things you'll come upon and you'll say, well, I don't know how we're going to get through this or manage this, but always trust in the Lord.
Thank you, Ms. for sharing. I apologize for calling you your sister, but she was a classy lady too. So. I apologize. It is a blessing.